Very warm welcome, June from Avstar. Guys, why the hell would somebody spend £100,000 on education these days? I'm going to put it in perspective, right? Next week, I'm going to take you out on the road for a couple of hours with me in the semi. I know that's an American word to describe, the Arctic or the HGV next week. So, we'll do a live one on the road, driving on the UK roads. We've got a big week next week. We're out from Monday morning, early hours Monday morning, and we come back on Friday morning. And it'll be an experience because we're going to be out on the road from that time, Monday till Friday. So if you want to just out of, inquisitiveness, see what it's like. But the point is this, here's the point. What a waste of money becoming a scientist. Learning the truth, learning through experimentation and repeating that experimentation and finding the same results, to find ourselves in such a crooked and corrupt world that we're in right now is, the reason why, I have dumped the love for science almost. Not completely, because, I've still got, I still have these crazy ideas. I still want to build electronics, I still want to experiment, and I still want to learn more about the magnetic pole reversals and things like that. But it don't pay. It just don't pay. There's no budget. There's no grants or funding for magnetic pole reversal. There is for development of wind turbines, EVs, EV HGVs, and all those other things. But we've got no control over those. I would have loved, we could have took this to the peak of the mountains if we'd have had government funding, but we never got nowhere near anything like that. We had at the best at one point 2 people chipping in $500 every month, and then that petered out. They lost momentum, and I am absolutely grateful for that support that we had, because that accelerated us. We brought lots of other things. We've got a whole room full of microchips. Sure, you just name it. We can build pretty much a lot. We really can. From the get-go, any prototype we want now, because that's where we extended it. We started off with just natural sciences, which covered physics, chemistry, biology, earth science, astronomy, all those things, all those nice things. And then we would just give it that little kick with the electronics and the programming, and that gave us the ability to build what we wanted. If we come up with an idea, we could build it, and we could outdo, we didn't need the electronics engineer, we didn't need the programmer, we didn't need to pay for the project manager and all those other things, because we got it under roof here. It's a small, massively potent little unit that we've got here, and largely based on my abilities, and thankfully on the strength of people that want to help, and they send their data to us here at the observatory. Reluctantly, every fortnight we get data from superstars like Kendall, and we get input from such enormously intelligent people. And you're gonna recognise this guy if I mention his name in the comment section, Robert Watkins. What a wealth of information that this world's just squandering. You just can't put a value on the information that guy provides me every month on energy usage, climate, and a lot of other things. What we have managed to achieve is a little network of specialist people on this channel. And, I'm not the first person, by the way. There was a Nobel Peace Prize winner that couldn't get work after winning or sharing the Nobel Peace Prize. He shared actually the Nobel Peace Prize for his achievement, and he became a luggage transporter for people travelling to the airports. He was carrying their luggage, and that's what he did for a living. And here's the shameful thing, right? We're paying in the UK scientists less than we are truck drivers. And that's why I become a truck driver recently. Because why should I work for half the amount of money for a government agency, even in, say, forensic science? Why should I work, or environment? Why should I work for those departments when I can earn twice the amount of money driving a truck? Just tell me, where's the logic sense in that? And here's the big thing, yeah? Anybody in the UK with around £4,500 can do truck driving, and there's 200,000 shortfall in the jobs sector for HGV drivers. The amount of jobs I've turned down over the last week is unbelievable, and I'm a new driver, which I've had a lot of people say, oh, you ain't had 12 months experience, blah blah blah, but I've had a lot of people say, get in that truck, drive it for us, don't worry about it, we'll pay the extra premium on the insurance because you're a new driver. At the end of the day, these companies that are doing that are smart. Let me tell you why they're smart. Because there's no way on this earth DVSA are going to pass somebody that is dangerous on the road. There is no way. You have to meet the most, I think, in the world now, we've got the most strictest legislation on, the past performance in the world. I really do. Because, we've got the European time directives with the driver card. You have to have a qualification now, it's CPC, which is like, a good week's course. Learning about all the different aspects of tachograph, the walk round, all the basics of truck driving. And you know what? We've got probably one of the most safest roads as a result of that in the world. I will say that. I've been to other countries. I've seen lorries driving down the road in the Dominic with no windscreen. I've also seen, crazy things which made me hysteric. A moped with a 6-foot gas bottle sideways tied to the back of it. This guy's taking his fuel home that he's going to be cooking on for the next weeks or so. But I just couldn't believe it that they would allow such a thing on a road. Well, the roads on the UK are very safe. They could always be safer. Yeah, I'll admit that. We can always go that little bit better. But right now they are top notch. And, what a shame to see science fall to such a level of no valuation whatsoever. Probably the least valued people on the planet. Yeah, scientists are the ones that invent all the new technology for you. That little silicon chip, that little LED that lights up all those 4 colours. Do you know how hard it was to get it to light up blue? You could look into the inventor of that. That would give you an idea. And people dedicate their lives to just small things, but on the big scale, all these small things come together, and you get your flat screen LCD TV. That's the world we're living in, and it's just a shame to see my brothers and sisters that are scientists being discriminated in such a appalling manner, you know, being paid such an appalling rate for their expertise, you know, their dedication to the subject, and being rewarded the very least for it. You know, you guys will realise one day what I did for you. You really will. I hope so anyhow. You know, taking those years out to develop and build the Trimag system that we've got monitoring the magnetic North Pole at the moment, and give us an update of its position every month, is not a small thing. It really isn't. You know, that come with pain for me. You know, I could have like threw up, honestly. You know, there were days where it made me nauseous. You know, I could have been sick in a bucket next to me because, you know, I missed out full stop, and it took me all morning to realise that. That's why that bit of the programme would not work. But I persevered relentlessly, struggled and fought and fought and fought and fought, and I got there in the end. And that's why we've got the Trimag system. That's why it means a lot to me. You know, when we get all these stupid people making these ridiculous comments, I get angry about it. I do. I think to myself, you know, you should be so lucky that you are privileged to have this information, because 92% of the population of this earth are completely unaware of the earth going through a magnetic reversal. Can you believe that? Anyhow, guys, you know, it's not about beating you up, beating me up, beating somebody else up. You know what this is about? A realisation that, you know, we are not living in stable times. It's quite the opposite. It's turbulent. You know, if people that, you know, no disrespect for truck drivers, oh my God, do you know how hard it is to get one of those trucks from A to B? Especially in the UK with them tiny, stupid, ridiculous islands. Yeah, where they've built a little brick wall around it even. Do you know the manoeuvre that has to be done? How to execute that island in a HGV is just ridiculous. But you know what? Join me next week. You know, I'm out from Monday morning till Friday morning. You know, come with me on a couple of occasions. I'll do a couple of live feeds. I won't say when, but I know YouTube throw the live feeds in on the back of the videos that I do anyhow, so you'll get to see it. So you haven't got to like wait for me to do the live feed. It'll be there. But yeah, come with me. You know, because I've been told, you know, I'll be going all over England in the next week. Glasgow, Edinburgh, Essex. You know, all over the Midlands. So, you know, you've got you know, you've got your Golden Wonka Bar ticket. You're welcome to join me, guys, and just experience, you know, not just a trucker. I'm not going to call myself a trucker because I'm too new to have that privilege. But you know, okay, what word? An apprenticeship, yeah. Come with me as an apprenticeship, because I don't think I've got my wings yet. But definitely come with me and experience what it's like to be a newbie, which might be even more interesting because it'll be like I was on my interview. They said, "Oh, we want to see you drive," so we went out for 30 minutes drive, and they said, "Yeah." Before we got back to the depot, they said, "You got your job. You know, we're happy with you driving." My driving, I've got to say, I'm not being big-headed, but my driving was spot on. You know, lots of room around the curbs everywhere we went, so there was no curb strikes or anything like that, and there shouldn't be anyhow. But join me. That's all I say. That's all I can offer. And you know what? I am, even though got a full workload now, doing this job, I'm still dedicated to that magnetic pole reversal. It's just that, you know, that has had to take a second primary role in my life, just because, you know, I have to balance being able to live and keep a roof over my head, as opposed to, you know, just supplying that information for you guys. So, you know, that's the bottom line. You know, I think one day those that doubted me are going to realise that, you know what, I was genuine all along. And I really hope that that does shine through all this. So, you know, technology is not what we expect it to be. It really ain't. You know, have you ever been in a car where you sat nav and it's taking you the wrong direction? And you can ask yourself the question, is that deliberate? Has it deliberately put me on the toll road where I've got to pay £6 just to drive through this bit, when it was unnecessarily, could have been avoided? Or it took me through the emissions zone where I've got to pay tax because I drove, you know, my vehicle through that. You know, technology is not being used in this day and age fairly. I think it's being misused in this corrupt society that we're in, and I would just love to square out these things, you know, clean them up, so that we could all benefit from a better life. I look forward to seeing you with me next week. So what I usually do. Bye for now.